From Kern Government Television, welcome to this week's Kern County Board of Supervisors meeting, originating from the County Administrative Center located at 1115 Truxtun Avenue, Bakersfield, California. Kern County's vision is to create and maintain a customer-centered county government designed to garner the confidence, support, and trust of the people we serve. Today's Kern County Board of Supervisors meeting will convene momentarily.
Board to reconvene. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Supervisor Peters.
Here.
Supervisor Scribner.
Here.
Supervisor Maggard.
Here.
Supervisor Couch.
Here.
Supervisor Perez.
Here.
Good afternoon and welcome to Tuesday, August 10th, 2 p.m. board meeting of the Kern County Board of Supervisors. Before we begin, I have an important announcement that I would like to make. Kern County is among the top oil producing counties in the nation. Kern County is responsible for the overwhelming majority of California's total oil and gas production. Governor Newsom's recent overzealous, reckless, and unconstitutional attack on Kern County's oil and gas industry is totally unacceptable. Facts and advocacy for our county's residents don't seem to matter to this governor. The governor's conduct directly puts at risk the livelihoods of nearly 1 million Kern County residents, the majority of which are Latino households. Tens of thousands of jobs tied to our oil and gas industry are here in Kern County. These high-paying oil and gas jobs contribute nearly $10 billion to Kern County's local economy. The governor's conduct also puts at risk our county's funding for law enforcement, fire, and other vital public safety services, parks, funding for schools, and among other critical quality of life services. Of the top 10 taxpayers in Kern County in 2020, 6 were oil and gas companies. Our oil and gas industry contributes annual tax revenue of well over $80 million to our county's general fund, over $103 million annually to school districts, and over $12 million to special districts. Today, in closed session, the Kern County Board of Supervisors voted 4-1, with Supervisor Perez voting no, to authorize a lawsuit against the state of California for Governor Newsom's recent unilateral decisions to violate the Constitution by directing state agencies to stop implementing legislation directing the safe and environmentally protective production of oil and gas resources in the state of California, and principally here in Kern County. The time for talk appears to be over based on the governor's recent actions. The time for our county's response is now. And with that, we'll continue, and I would like to first call on County Counsel Margot Rizon for a report on other actions taken in closed session.
Good afternoon, Chairman, members of the board. In addition to item 51, which you just referred to, Mr. Chairman, your board also met in closed session on items 46, 47, 48, 49, 50, and 52. However, there is no other reportable action.
Thank you. We'll now consider the consent agenda. All items listed with a CA above the items are considered to be routine and non-controversial by county staff. Consent items will be considered first and may be approved by one motion. If a member of the public wishes to comment or ask questions regarding an item on the consent agenda, they may do so prior to a vote being taken. A member of the board may remove any item from the consent agenda, and it will be considered in listed sequence with an opportunity for any member of the public to address the board concerning the item before action is taken. A member of the public may also comment on any closed session item. At this time, I will read the consent agenda item numbers for the Board of Supervisors agenda. And that is items 4 through 6 on page 3, 7 through 12 on page 4, 13 through 20 on page 5, 21 through 29 on page 6, 30 through 33, as well as item 35 on page 7, and items 36 through 42 on page 8. I would also like to note correction on item 20. The opening bid date should say Wednesday, September 8th, not September 9th. And also a correction on item 29, a change of recommended action to approve and authorize auditor controller to pay. Is there anyone in attendance that would like to speak regarding the consent agenda? Would any member of the board like an item removed for discussion?
Motion to approve.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Please cast your votes.
The motion is approved. All ayes.
Thank you. We'll now consider item number 1, public presentations. This portion of the meeting is reserved for persons to address the board on any matter not on this agenda, but under the jurisdiction of the board. Board members may respond briefly to statements made or questions posed. They may ask questions for clarification, make referrals to staff for factual information, or request staff to report back to the board at a later meeting. Also, the board may take action to direct the staff to place a matter of business on a future agenda. Speakers are limited to 2 minutes. Please state and spell your name before making your presentation. Is there anyone that would like to address the board under public presentations?
Are we allowed to remove?
Sure.
Okay. Wendy Ward, do I spell it?
Please.
Wendy, W-E-N-D-Y, Ward, W-A-R-D.
Feel free to
Okay.
make your presentation. Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Wendy Ward, and I serve on the Board of Directors of the Kern Fire Safe Council. In 2019, the Kern Fire Safe Council was established as a nonprofit organization to secure federal, state, and local fire prevention and mitigation funding. With this funding, the council collaborates with community leaders, governmental agencies, and corporations to provide education to our communities to prepare for catastrophic wildfires. Prior to 2017, Kern County housed 3 independent fire safe councils, the Kern River Valley, Mount Pinos Communities, and Tehachapi Valley. These councils phased out around 2017. In 2019, under the guidance of the California State Fire Safe Council and with the support of the Kern County Fire Department and the United States Federal Forest Service, community members from these rural communities came together to restructure the 3 previous fire safe councils into one. Our goal was to increase efficiency, equally distribute support, and address the needs of all the rural communities in Kern County. Since 2019, the Kern County Fire Safe Council has received grant funding from California State Fire Council, Southern California Edison, Listos, California, and the California Fire Foundation. This funding has allowed us to create our webpage, produce webinars, attend county-wide events, and fund a go-bag giveaway to incentivize individuals and to their own emergency preparedness. We now have the opportunity to apply for the California State Fire Safe Council's 2021 California Coordinators Grant. The objective of the County Coordinators Grant mirrors our own goals: to educate, encourage, and develop countywide collaboration and coordination among various wildfire mitigation groups operating within counties containing state responsibility area lands. Up to 24 counties will receive a one-time grant of $175,000 to be used to cover administrative costs relevant to countywide coordination efforts, included but not limited to the salary, support, and administrative costs for our designated county coordinator. I am here today on behalf of the Kern Fire Safe Council to ask for your support in applying for this grant. The grant application requirements are contained in this letter we have sent to you. With your support, the Kern Fire Safe Council and the county coordinator will work closely with the Kern County Board of Supervisors and other fire mitigation groups within the county to meet the county coordinator's grant objectives. Candidates for the position will be chosen for their extensive experience in the areas of fire mitigation, leadership, education, and community collaboration. The need for a solid and thriving fire safe council in Kern County is imperative to the safety of our rural communities. We have all seen the catastrophic effects of wildfire on rural communities. We are not fully prepared, not ready, and not safe. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Are there any other speakers?
For public comment?
Yes, for public comment.
Good afternoon, Board of Supervisors. I'm here again because
Ma'am, before you start, would you please state and spell your name, please?
my name is Bianca Santoyo. I work for Center Race Poverty and the Environment and also part of the steering committee for Shafter through the AB 617.
Thank you.
Thank you. I wanted to address again the frustration that we've been having with the Kern County Ag Commissioner, as he has not been complying to what his job title statement does, that he's there to protect public health. We are tired of coming back and forth, and yet no action has been done over the Ag Commissioner not wanting to help us out for the pesticide notification. The statewide did allocate some money for a notification, but there's no limit of time. We don't know when this notification is going to happen, but yet we in Shafter have the money already allocated. He's the one that is refusing to help us out. He sent letters to the growers that he's not going to comply to what the state mandates him, and that is actually dismissing his job requirement. And as it happens, if you don't comply to your job, you're going to get fired, and that's what we want. We want him to get fired or do some action for what we've been asking for. We have a year and a half without no notification, and that is alarming. This is funding from the state. It has an expiration date, and residents have worked on it for more than 2 years trying to allocate this money, this actual money for the pesticide. And before, it wasn't even part as an emissions inventory for the AB 617. And we want to be part of the agenda because we want him to come and tell you guys why he's not complying to his job. He's always put himself behind a wall, behind a desk, and not even respond to any of our questions. And that is concerning for residents, having a public official and not responding to residents' request. So that's our request to be agendized for the next meeting.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Could we have our next speaker, please?
Do you have interpretation, or I could do interpretation for her?
Yeah, you're welcome to interpret.
Buenas tardes,
Good afternoon.
mi nombre es María Márquez. Okay. Mi nombre es María Márquez
My name is Maria Marquez,
y soy residente de la ciudad de Shafter
and I'm a resident from the community of
por
Shafter
más de 15 años.
for more than 15 years.
Soy miembro del comité
I'm a member of the committee
del AVE 617
of the AB 617,
y estoy aquí
and I'm here
para pedir
to ask
que sea destituido el señor Glenn,
to have Glenn to be fired,
porque creo que como residente
because me as a resident,
tenemos el derecho de ser notificados
we have the right to know
lo que se le está poniendo a la tierra y lo que respiramos.
what is put in the dirt and what we're breathing.
Hace 2 años,
More than 2 years ago,
un niño falleció de cáncer en la próstata.
we
de
had
9 años.
we had a child of 9 years old die of prostate cancer.
Y estamos viendo que es una luz anaranjada de más niños que están saliendo por la alta contaminación de pesticidas.
And we've been seeing a green light, an orange light of all these children being affected through cancer.
Y ahorita deseemos, por favor, que nos apoyen
And we are here so you could support us.
para una persona que no está haciendo su trabajo
For somebody that's not doing their job,
y que es su deber
and it's his duty
darnos esas notificaciones.
to give us that
La
notification.
ciudad está con nosotros
The city's with us,
y él podía comunicarse y trabajar junto con la ciudad de Shafter
and he's there to help with the community, with the city of Shafter,
para que la notificación vaya en la misma notificación del tiempo de Shafter.
and to be at the on time for notification.
Leticia, recuerdo cuando usted andaba pidiendo votos.
Leticia, I remember when you were asking for our votes.
Usted dijo que nos haría el favor cuando se la necesitara.
When we would ask for a favor, you would be there.
Ahorita es cuando la necesitamos.
And we're here because we need your support.
Where do you live? Where does she live again?
In Shafter.
Shafter, okay. That's not my district, just for the record.
Pero together.
I understand, but I just want to clarify.
Thank you.
Please
Muchas
continue.
gracias. Muchas gracias. Si yo voy a mi trabajo y no cumplo, me corre.
If I go to my job and I don't comply to my job, I get fired.
Entonces el señor Glenn, ¿qué está haciendo?
And Mr. Glenn, what is he doing?
Porque no lo han destituido en más de 2 años.
Because they haven't fired him in more than 2 years.
Él no se presenta, no se deja ver.
He doesn't present himself. He doesn't let people see him.
Por favor, ayúdenos.
Please help us.
Gracias.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We have another speaker.
Supervisor Perez, would you?
I'll wait until the next speaker, but
Sure.
ultimately, Ryan, I am curious what we plan to do about this situation as it continues to not go away and be of concern. I don't know if we should agendize this matter, ask Glenn to come down, but after this speaker, I would like to chat with you and see what makes sense moving forward. I'd appreciate that, Ryan. Thank you.
Thank you.
Buenas tardes a todos. Mi
Good.
nombre es Felipa Trujillo
Good afternoon. My name is Felipa Trujillo,
y vivo ahí en la comunidad de Chapter,
and I live in the community of Shafter.
que tenemos un problema muy grande con la contaminación.
That we have a humongous problem of contamination.
Es un pueblo muy chico
It's a-
y está muy contaminado.
It's a small city, but very contaminated.
Atrás de mi casa yo tengo huertos de almendras
Behind my house, I do have almond orchards,
y pedimos que cuando pongan los pesticidas nos notifiquen. Para asimismo, nosotros ahí en la comunidad que caminamos y los niños que salen a jugar, saber, tomar medidas, saber cuándo lo podemos hacer.
we're asking for notification so we could take our precautionaries if we go outside and walk. When children are playing outside, it's something that we're requesting.
Hemos trabajado como 2 años
We-
para poder resolver este problema y que lo hagan fuerte en la AB 617. Y hasta ahorita pues no hemos podido conseguir algo bueno para esto.
We've been working for more than 2 years to include, but at the moment we haven't seen no changes at all. And that's why we're here.
Muchas gracias.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. So, Ryan, if you could help me, this is not my district, and I don't see anybody else chimed in, so what should we do?
Chairman Peters, Supervisor Perez, I think that if your board wanted, you could get, hear from your ag commissioner, but specifically on this issue, to have him provide a report and kind of give a background and how he's been involved and what the issues are. I think you can hear from him directly on this if your board so choose to do that.
I think it could certainly be helpful. I mean, I don't want to set up a fight in here unnecessarily, but this issue I'm hearing about in the community, it's now come up multiple board sessions. I don't believe it's going to go away, and it just seems to behoove us to at least have the conversation or get it started so that we can clarify wherever there's confusion and, just make sure we're even talking about the same thing. That just seems necessary to me at this stage. And I'd love to get my colleagues' input. I don't want to jam you up. If you don't want to speak, that's fine. But, we can't just ignore the public.
Yeah, I agree. I'm happy to speak with our ag commissioner about getting in front of your board in some capacity to discuss
Or even
these
privately,
issues.
Ryan.
Yeah.
We could meet privately. I'm happy to participate to the degree that makes sense for me to be there. I don't need to be there, but I certainly would be happy to help that conversation get kick-started and, help us get on the same page. But, I don't know what the best thing is to move forward. I don't want to presume that I do or force that onto my colleagues when maybe the conversation needs to be more, extensive and nuanced in a private setting. I don't know. But I see Supervisor Maggard has chimed in. He's got a lot more experience than me, so I'd like to hear from you, Mike.
Thank you, Supervisor Perez. Supervisor Maggard.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. There's a very different perspective from Mr. Fankhauser than is being depicted by the people who've come here week after week demanding his job. I have no intention of taking his job from him. I think he does a good job. It's a very difficult job, and it's now over. He has a responsibility for an area that has become very controversial. There's a different perspective than just as being presented by the public, and I think it is time for Mr. Fankhauser to come to one of our meetings and explain that in front of the public. So I look forward to that, and I'm happy to join Supervisor Perez in asking him to come before us so we can have that discussion. I don't think we need to set up a public workshop. I don't think we need to have a debate. I think it's simply a matter of Mr. Fankhauser explaining there's a different perspective to this and how he is indeed fulfilling his responsibilities.
I appreciate that very much. I'd like to hear from him. I think it would benefit the public to hear his perspective and clear up again wherever there is confusion and, of course, get to know each other better. I don't know how else we do this business without listening to each other. And I appreciate your remarks, Mike, and I think it would be helpful to have him down here and let him speak for himself and share with us his expertise and talk about perhaps he needs some policy guidance from the board as well. And maybe it's time to do that. So respectfully, of course.
Leticia, can I give a comment?
No, you can't. I'm sorry. This is a non-agendized item. We are now talking extensively about it, probably inappropriately, but we want to answer you because you're important and you're here and you're passionate and you matter. But this is not the time to flesh through the issue. I'm sorry. We can't do it technically because it's not on the agenda. And I know that's a terrible excuse, but we have to follow the rules, or else Kathy will get me in trouble. So Ryan, could we ask him to come back here? Because I just think we need to hear from him, and then ultimately I'd be delighted to be a person to sit in. I think Glenn is a stand-up guy. I don't know this issue. I'm not an expert. I need to learn it, obviously, and this seems like an opportunity to do that. And I'm sorry, I don't mean to cut you off, really, but if it's not on our agenda, we're not supposed to talk about it. We're not supposed to do exactly what I'm doing right now. So, Ryan, your thoughts?
I will arrange. I will arrange a discussion with Mr. Fankhauser ASAP.
I appreciate that. And in the meantime, we can get together as well if you want to inform me about your position or send me an email and give me some of your info. It'd be a good time to, brush up on it.
With Ryan?
Yes, you can leave your contact information with Ryan.
Thank you very much. Thank you. This will get better, I promise. But, okay? Thank you.
Are there any other speakers under public comment?
Mr. Chairman, could I?
I'm sorry, I didn't see you there, Supervisor.
We don't have to do it right now, but there have been some very specific allegations leveled against Mr. Fankhauser in the past, and I want to make sure that he addresses each and every one of those. So I'd like to talk with you, Ryan, or Margot, when we have a chance, just to go over the ones that I recall. Thank you.
Thank you, Supervisor. Any other public comment? Okay, seeing none, we'll now move to item number 2, board member announcements or reports. Any other reports or comments? Supervisor Maggard?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This morning I noticed that we did not have a discussion about what we've come to call a COVID update. While it's true that COVID has now lived with us long enough that it is in some ways viewed as routine, there are some developments as we go along that I think are important for the public to hear. So I would ask that we have our regular update continue, at least for now. For example, one of those issues that is, I think, very significant is that over 99% of those cases that are occurring, over 99% of those are in people who are not vaccinated. So for the public to understand that, they can make their own decision, but it is irrefutable that the people who are getting sick are people, for the most part, who have not taken the vaccine, so that people should do that with their eyes wide open, as well as an update as to how we're doing and what projections say we will have if this isn't managed effectively, coming as the number of cases begin to surge in the late summer, early fall, and what it does to our hospitals. So I look forward to more of those if my colleagues are open to having those presented to us in the AM sessions on Tuesdays as well.
Sounds good. Thank you, Supervisor Maggard. Supervisor Perez.
Thank you. Supervisor Maggard, I really appreciate your remarks. I was shocked, actually, to not get an update today, given what is happening across the country. We know our hospitals are filling back up. I know these issues are unfortunately and ridiculously political, but we have not made them political in here. We have stuck to the facts, stuck to the health and welfare of our people, and I am very concerned as well about what we are seeing because of the spread, the transmission, and of course, our ability to properly care for all the other things that are going on within our hospital and our health delivery system. So I am very concerned. I do want to thank from the bottom of my heart and with all that I am, Dignity Health, Kern Health Systems, BC, the Dolores Huerta Foundation, and Hall Ambulance, Lavon, who is a really an angel in this community. We are going to have a press conference on Thursday, and we will be rolling out on Sunday the first in the Central Valley door-to-door vaccine operation. And we will be going to the lowest vaccinated precincts in this community. We will be going door-to-door. We'll be able to do that with medical staff that are trained, that are professional, that are licensed. We'll do that with a Hall Ambulance medic team so that if there are health concerns, they can be addressed immediately. And we will be going door-to-door. We are hiring walkers. We have been training them. We are ready to hit the ground running, and I'm very excited about it because, as you said, Mike, the vast majority of people who are dying or becoming very ill and bankrupting their families in the process are people that are unvaccinated. There are people very close to me, and the closest people in the world to me, who are not vaccinated. And I have nothing but respect for their autonomy and their liberty interests, as those are their interests and not mine. So I recognize how complicated these matters are, more than they ever should have been, but the concern I have for my district and beyond and in this county is profound because of what we're seeing, the numbers, who's getting sick and who's dying. So we will be on Thursday announcing this partnership, which is a conglomeration of a number of actors that have come together and said, we don't think we're doing enough and that we need to do more. And I so appreciate the honesty and the willingness to just come together and get the job done for the welfare, safety, and health of this community. So that's Thursday. Sunday, we will be going door to door. We appreciate the many planning hours over weeks. These matters are so complex, and I'm just so grateful that we have the political will and the chutzpah and the talent to go door to door and to do everything within our power to save the lives and well-being of our neighbors. So, Mike, hats off to you. Appreciate your leadership on these matters. Thank you, Kathy.
Thank you, Supervisor Perez. Any other comments from the board? Okay, seeing none, we'll now move on to item number 3 under the Planning and Natural Resources Department, and that is a request of Ty Love to vacate an access easement located at 3750 Nord Avenue and 3751 Passini Street in the Bakersfield area. And for that report, I will turn it over to our Director of Planning, Lorelei Oviatt.
Thank you, Chairman Peters, members of the board. I'm here today with Craig Murphy, Assistant Director. And we will have maps in a moment. This project was continued from July 20th, 2021 agenda so that we can continue to discuss with the property owners a resolution of this request. As this map shows, there's actually 3 property owners involved in this situation. We have 2 property owners, Mr. Ty Love and Paul Castamanga, who have requested that this public access easement, which essentially provides access only along their property, be vacated, which means that your board would then authorize a private access easement. There is a 3rd property owner, however, who requires access from this, and that is property owned by Vaughn Water. Representatives from these entities are here today to speak to your board. Staff has been in extensive communication with all parties. Mr. Murphy has shuttle diplomacied among the various entities. We do believe that we have a recommendation that respects the right of these 2 property owners to control the access to their property as private, while at the same time ensuring that Vaughn Water has adequate access as well, private access and control of their properties. They can speak more in detail, but we understand there are water wells on these properties that are essential to delivery of their services. In this case, staff is recommending that there be the recordation of a private access easement that also includes for the benefit of Vaughn Water, 24 feet wide, with maintenance to be provided by the 2 underlying property owners, Ty Love and Paul Castamagna, who have requested this easement. The easement has to be kept free and clear of all obstructions. It has to be traversable by vehicles at all times. Any fencing that these property owners may want to install has to include a lockbox or a key for Vaughn Water Company at no cost to the company. We also recommend that this action not become effective until verification has been provided that these various actions have occurred, and that is included in the recommendation. We understand the comments that have been provided in the record by surrounding agricultural owners that they believe that a private access easement will somehow encourage trespass onto their properties. We don't see that. There are many other ways. If we could have, do we have another map that shows the actual names of the streets? There are actually street access from Nord for these other properties that are surrounding, street access from Hageman. The control of this private access easement for these 2 rural parcels appears to be a legitimate request. However, Vaughn Water does have the right to have access as well, and we would like to inform your board that we do not believe that the summary vacation could be approved without providing access to Vaughn Water. And we believe that private access could be provided to all of them. With that, I'd like to read our recommendations, since I believe there may be comments from the applicants and others on this actual recommendation. And we are certainly open to any suggestions or changes to the recommendation that your board may be interested in. So at this point, the recommendation is to adopt resolution and recommended findings, approving non-summary vacation, accepting and reserving an easement for existing utilities, and direct clerk of the board not to record the resolution until a memorandum is received from the Kern County Planning and Natural Resource Department indicating that the project proponent has recorded a private access easement for the benefit of accessor parcel numbers APN 463-160-05 and 463-160-52. The required access easement shall be 24 feet in width and 1,331.13 feet in length, running between Nord Avenue and Pacini Street. Provided access shall ensure access 24 hours per day, 365 days per year, and include either a lockbox or key. If any gates are constructed, the easement shall be kept free and clear from all obstructions and be traversable by a standard vehicle at all times. The underlying property owner shall be responsible for ongoing maintenance activities associated with the easement and the construction of any fencing or gates. That completes my presentation.
Thank you, Director Oviatt. At this time, we would invite members of the public wishing to speak on this to come forward and share your presentation with the board.
Thank you. Usually the applicant for the project goes first, so I would ask that you.
Okay, yeah, we would invite the applicant then to come down.
Good afternoon. Thanks for your time, Supervisors. I am the applicant on this project, and we have read the staff report thoroughly and understand it, and we agree with the findings. And I'm open for questions at this time, and should there be any opposition to this matter, I would appreciate the chance to come up and communicate.
Thank you, sir. Yes.
I apologize.
Okay, are there any other comments?
My name is Curtis Skaggs, C-U-R-T-I-S-S-K-A-G-G-S. I'm with D. Jaspar & Associates. We are the district engineer or water company engineer for Vaughn Water Company. Mr. Chairman, members of the board, staff, I'd like to thank you for all of your work on this issue. We feel like we have been heard and the concerns for the water company have been addressed, so we appreciate that. On the language that is proposed in that, I just had a couple minor comments that I was hoping could be addressed. One was on the access easement being 24 foot wide and the entire length of those two parcels. We were thinking along the lines of some sort of language to state that any fencing or walls constructed shall not restrict a full 24 foot wide access to the well site. And what we had in mind there is we know there are gates at the east and west ends of that easement, but if anything were ever run along the northerly boundary of the easement, we would like to make sure that full 24 foot wide gates were installed in front of the well site so that we can maintain access. And then the second comment was just on the language with the shall be traversable by a standard vehicle at all times. We'd like to add some language to that about, a truck and trailer or something for when we're needing to bring in materials or equipment or remove them from the site. Any questions for me?
I appreciate it. If you give us just a minute, I will refer back to our planning department for a response.
I have a question, Chairman Peters.
Sure.
I just have a question about the request.
Okay.
You mentioned gates in front of, so are you asking that fencing not restrict access to your property, or are you asking for a particular opening in front of your property?
Kind of both. We'd like to make sure that nothing obviously gets constructed that prohibits our access to the well site from that 24-foot wide easement. And then if something is done there as a compromise to maintain access, that it maintain that full width of the easement, the 24-foot width.
Thank you.
Chairman Peters, members of the board, if I understand the concern correctly, let me explain it, and then I have I pushed the wrong button. I was hit that one. And then I have some potential language. So the concern in my conversations with Vaughn is that the size of their trucks, they indicated that the 24-foot in width was needed just so that their vehicles could traverse the easement and then turn into to where their property is. If I understand the comment, the concern is that if fencing is constructed, that could squeeze that 24 feet, make it 22 feet or anything if you put a gate. I mean, clearly it is potentially that the applicant may put a gate across it, which is why we proposed the language about a lockbox or anything along those lines. But clearly when you have columns, 24 feet is the size the trucks need to go through. So columns may have to be 26 feet, 27 feet to ensure that a 24-foot length is to go through the easement. So what I would propose is near the end of your recommendation, on page 5, it says the provided easement shall ensure access 24 hours a day, 365 days per year, and include either a lockbox or key if any gates are constructed. I would include the language, any fencing shall ensure a 24-foot wide access easement. And again, I believe that the purpose of that is simply to make sure that the columns don't constrict the size of the vehicles. And then under the page 6, the easement shall be kept free and clear from all obstructions and be traversable by a standard vehicle and/or truck or trailer would be the additional language, and/or truck or trailer. I believe that that would address the concerns and still give the flexibility that if Mr. Love chooses to put a gate up, that he would be allowed to, and that would still provide the access for Vaughn Water.
Thank you. Mr. Love, do you have any response to that?
I do, absolutely. Thank you. I had always intended to put a gate up so they could go across another person's property into their property. I'd like to reiterate that their property does not touch my property. So I feel like putting a gate in and providing the 24-foot access is more than reasonable in this matter. And if that makes everything fine, then I completely agree with what we're discussing. So,
thank you very much. Yes, Supervisor Perez.
I would just like the applicant to train future applicants who are coming before the board to timing on original presentation and, of course, response to concerned, safety.
Okay, great. Thank you very much. Are there any final comments? Okay, seeing none, we'll bring it back for questions or comments from the board. Personally, I would just like to thank staff for their time on this and both parties for being willing to work and compromise to get this issue figured out. And seeing as how this is in the 1st District, I believe, is that correct?
Yes.
I'll go ahead and make the motion to approve the staff's recommendation as amended.
A second.
Thank you. Please cast your votes.
We're going to revote.
Sorry.
That's okay, I jumped the gun. Thank you. Now I'll reveal the vote. Is all ayes. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, we'll now consider item number 34 under the Human Resources Division, a proposed memorandum of understanding with the Kern County Probation Officers Unit for bargaining units Q and Y from August 10th, 2021 through June 30th, 2024, with changes to wages, hours, and terms and conditions of employment. Okay, I'll turn it over to our CAO, Ryan Alsop.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. I just have a few comments before I hand it over to Mr. Brown. This is a definitely characterize this as an auspicious agenda item. It's before your board, and perhaps among the most significant agenda items of the past few years. There have been many. Because it deals directly with a new labor contract for some valuable employees that we have, our probation officers, and it is a new 3-year MOU with that bargaining group that increases compensation for our probation officers across the board for all KCPOA members, and really sets our county in this agreement on a course to consider more regular COLAs, cost of living adjustments for KCPOA members going into the future on a more regular basis. So I really appreciate the work of our Human Resources Officer, Mr. Brown, Devin Brown, and everything that he did, Mr. Zervis, my office, all of the work of their team members. And I really want to take the time to personally thank the KCPOA probation officers union leadership for just being great people, understanding the county's issues since I've been here, really understanding the challenges that we've had. They've been team players and without a lot of complaints. And I'm just pleased to be able to bring this before your board. I want to thank the probation officers union membership. You know, these are people that have very hard jobs. They put their life on the line on a daily basis for members of this community. It is a very tough job. They go into very, very difficult situations in the course of their job. And they're also a primary link between, incarceration and people getting back on their feet and becoming productive members of their society. They deal with adults, they deal with juveniles, and they just do a great job. They have a great chief, but just an outstanding group of people that are highly valued in this county. And so I just want to thank them for their trust and for their support of this proposal. And with that, I'm going to hand it over to Mr. Brown.
So good afternoon, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. Devin Brown, your Chief Human Resources Officer. I too am pleased to be here to present this item to you today. It's the product of a lot of work of a lot of people who have been patient for many, many years and have been waiting for this moment. And so I do also want to take the opportunity to thank our partners in the Probation Officers Association, specifically their president, Diana Nam, and her board, and also their chief probation officer, T.R. Miracle, who has been helpful and instrumental in helping us negotiate this agreement that's before you today. It really is a product of patience. The last MOU that our county has had with the Kern County Probation Association expired way back in July of 2015. And that seems like a lifetime ago. But today we're here proposing this MOU. It is a 3-year agreement that will go through June 30th of 2024. That is an achievement in and of itself to have the ability to have an agreement with a labor union that lasts that long these days. Since 2015, our Kern County Probation Officers Association and its membership has worked very cohesively with us to ensure the continued financial stability necessary to bring about this proposed MOU. The parties began negotiating for this contract way back in 2019, before the COVID-19 pandemic kind of stayed our efforts for a period of time. But despite the pandemic, we did enter into a side letter agreement back in November of last year to implement some key changes that we've already reached agreement on. And then we restarted negotiations this summer once the county's financial picture was a lot more clearer as we hopefully get through this pandemic and exit the impacts that it's caused on our employees and our county. On July of this year, July 20th, we reached a full tentative agreement The KCPOA membership voted to ratify that agreement on the 30th, and we are jointly proposing this successor MOU for your board's approval today. I won't run through every change that is made with this agreement. If you can imagine, after 6 years without a contract, there's a lot of updates and changes that you have to do. But some of the more substantive parts of this proposed MOU I will discuss. We are really happy that we were able to reach agreement on a one-time non-pensionable premium pay bonus for all of our employees who were hired before July 1st of this year, and that's in a $3,000 amount. This is being funded through the American Rescue Plan Act money that the county received from the federal government back in May, and your board initially allocated some of that money for this purpose back in June of this year. So we are pleased to be able to offer our probation officers who have worked diligently through the pandemic this one-time bonus to provide some economic relief. And so that is a pretty significant part of the economic package here, but not the most comprehensive change that Mr. Alsop alluded to. What we're proposing and agreed to is a real sea change in the way we compensate our employees here in the county. We've had for a long time, ever since I've been here, a 5-step merit-based increment system where employees get 5% each year upon their anniversary date if they have standard or above standard performance. That has limited our financial ability to provide ongoing wage increases through cost of living adjustments. And so we have negotiated a new arrangement with our Probation Officers Association to do a 10-step base COLA step schedule with 2% increments between each step. That step schedule will be going effective January of this next year. And that'll have the effect of increasing the base salary for all of the positions represented by this union, so that the top end is higher and even the bottom end where they start at is going to be increased as well with this new step schedule. So that will help our ability to recruit and retain our valuable talent in the probation department. On top of that, we are also proposing an additional COLA in July of 2022 of 2.5%. So we've heard a lot of comments over the years before your board about being creative, thinking outside the box, putting oxygen into our efforts, and most notably providing COLAs on a more regular basis. And the proposal before you does just that. It is very creative, it is outside the box thinking, and it is providing that oxygen necessary to have those additional COLAs that can provide regular and sustainable wage growth for our employees. So this is, again, a monumental change in the way we compensate our employees. It will afford the county the ability to offer additional COLAs at more regular intervals to ensure that we're keeping pace with the labor market and the rising cost of living that many of us are facing every day. It will also position our probation department with recruiting new staff to fill vacant and vital positions more effectively. And it'll provide regular and sustainable base wage growth of 2% each year for a total of 9 years for all new employees hired into the probation department. The probation union was very helpful in providing us with some other changes that your board sought and the county sought in this MOU. Most notably is the change to overtime, which is moving again more closely aligned with the Fair Labor Standards Act requirements in treating paid leave time as excluded from hours worked for determining overtime eligibility. That will help us achieve some savings to, again, continue to provide more wage growth in the form of COLAs in the out years. We are also limiting some future liabilities with fitness pay incentives and post-employment benefits and those programs will now be limited just to the existing workers here. I think the underscore that I'd like to put on this is that this will allow all of our employees in this union to see wage growth. Nobody is going to have their pay cut. Everybody is going to be seeing a higher wage at the end of the day, and it'll give us an opportunity in the county and with your board's guidance to provide additional COLAs in future years as well. These changes will continue to provide the probation department and the county with savings, again, that can be used to provide future wage growth necessary to compete for top talent in the probation ranks. The total fiscal impact of this contract will eventually be about $4.25 million annually. The approximate general fund impact of the change is $1.5 million. So it's not insignificant, but it is something we felt we could afford at this time. The MOU, of course, also includes the one-time bonuses, which are roughly a $1.5 million cost. Again, the money being coming from the American Rescue Plan Act money that has been allocated by your board. The terms and conditions that were changed in this agreement and the MOU has been, again, ratified by the union. It's been approved as to form by our county counsel's office, and we are recommending that your board approve this MOU and authorize the chairman to sign and direct us to begin implementing it today. So I'm happy to answer any questions you may have, but we would appreciate your concurrence with this item.
Thank you, Mr. Brown. Supervisor Perez.
Thank you very much. Well, today is a big day, and really, Devin, thank you for your creativity and the political will to make this work. Because as you know, this board is very fond of the probation department, and we have desired for so long to take better care of you and to be able to take care of you, meaning that our finances are there and that, you know, it makes sense and we can make it work. You have a very aggressive leadership team. They have been in my home on multiple occasions. They've had food with me at my table. And very recently, where I tried to make some BLTs, but my toaster broke, and that wasn't a very good meal for you. But I remember you telling me, we're tired of waiting, and we've been good faith players, and we love you guys, but we're tired of waiting. And you sent a very clear message, and you did that with my colleagues, I know, because you're so happy to convey to them your concerns and the bleeding out that's been going on in your department. And so I am very excited today, Devin, because you know, these folks, to Ryan's point, you know, are responsible for and are the successes of criminal justice reform. If we have any at all, it's because of probation. It's not because of anybody else that's reforming our system in any way, shape, or form. It is the human capital of the people involved in mentoring, helping, and guiding people to make better decisions, right? To delay gratification, to, you know, become pro-social. That takes a lot of work, and nobody knows it like probation. And I want you to know how much we appreciate you, what you do, you know, and that you're hanging in there with us. I know we've lost some of your brothers and sisters in your ranks, but we are certainly closing the gap here today, and I'm so pleased to make the motion to move forward on this. But also want to tell you that you have a remarkable leadership team, and you should be grateful to them because they're very respectful and very shrewd in public. Privately, they're also quite shrewd, and I'm pleased to see that that's resulting in something real for you and your families, especially as we go into the holiday season. So thank you for what you do, probation, and really, Devin, this is quite remarkable. We've been waiting years for this, so thank you.
Thank you, Supervisor Perez. Any other questions from the board?
I'll second the motion.
Well, I think first we got to go to public comment real quick. Supervisor Maggard, do you want to jump in real fast?
Yeah, thank you. I just wanted to say to the members as well, thank you for being patient with us. We do value you. You have a unique role in law enforcement. All of law enforcement is hard, but you must deal with the same people over and over and over again. That's a very special skill set, and we acknowledge and respect that you have a tough job, and you've done it well, and you have allowed us to wait until we could do the right thing for you. And I just want to tell you we're grateful for your patience with that, and I'm happy to support this.
Thank you, Supervisor Maggard. Supervisor Scrivener.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The word patience was used a few times, once by Mr. Brown and then repeated up here on this board. And I'd like to concur that your association, your leadership team, they and yourselves, all of you throughout the ranks of the probation department have all exhibited that patience. I imagine that things were pretty frustrating over the last several years as you waited for some movement into getting you a new contract that was able to offer some adjustments in salary, which you very much have earned. I will tell you that the frustration is also shared by members of this board as we have looked at the county's finances over the course of the last 7-8 years or so. It seemed like every time we took one step forward, for instance, when we were able to get a handle on the bleeding that was happening with Kern Medical's finances, moving to the authority, we felt that we had addressed the biggest glaring threat to the county's finances, and then we get hit with low oil prices, and now this governor in office continues to attack our property tax base with his attacks on our oil industry. And there are other challenges that we have also faced throughout the course of the years. But once we felt that we were in a financial position where we could move forward, we were able to do so. But just keep in mind that you remained a priority for us through all of these years, and I'm pleased that finally we're able to do something here today. So thank you for sticking with us, and I want to thank our County Administrative Office, Mr. Alsop, your team, Devin Brown, for bringing this to the board. So thank you all so much.
Thank you, Supervisor Scrivener. Supervisor Couch.
Yeah, I'll be quick. I just want to say that I appreciate what you guys do each and every day, but I want you to know that I very much appreciate and respect and admire the way you have conducted yourselves with our staff and with the board during all the negotiations, and I very much appreciate the way you guys have handled yourselves during that. Thank you.
I won't speak very long. Just wanted to echo the comments made by my colleagues up here. I have a deep respect for our probation department. I know you guys have a tough job. There's so many different things you have to be experts in. But thank you for hanging in there and for doing what you do. And thank you to our staff here for putting this MOU together. Managing this item and the last item and everybody agreeing and finding middle ground. This is unusual, but I love it. So thank you guys again. I appreciate it. And I believe we already have a second and a motion and a second. So if there are no other comments, please cast your votes.
Thank you. The motion is approved. All ayes.
Congrats, guys. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, having no additional items to consider, I will entertain a motion to adjourn to Tuesday, August 24th, 2021 at 9 a.m.
So moved.
Thank you. We're adjourned.
transverse and crescent and linear and star